It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com. So I'm assuming that ends it. Wow. So I'm assuming that ends it. Wow. So I'm assuming. Oh my goodness. Is this working yet? Hello? Oh, now it's not even playing. Oh my goodness. Is this working yet? All right. Hello? We know who's to blame for this. If you don't have a co-host you can blame for stuff, then you're missing out, because little baby puppy co-hosts, they don't care at all. They'll just take like if I got to give him a whooping, he just thinks he's getting petted. You never have to worry about ever being wrong either. Your puppy co-host is always wrong. All right, I think we're back. Are we back? I think we're back. What we do on Wednesdays when we go live is screw around for 10 minutes and 30 seconds. You can't see that clock right there, but 10 minutes and 30 seconds worth of screwing around. A lot of people would just start the show over again, would act like the show never happened, would be all embarrassed or whatever. But no, we're gonna blame it on the puppy co-host, and we're gonna just move on. All right, so let's dig into this. On Wednesdays, we get together and we take a look at what's been happening on a little place we like to call the Instagrams. Now, hopefully I picked the right screen this time. I should have known right in the beginning. It was picking my monitors were all mixed matched. Like when I went to go throw my monitor up here, I picked the wrong monitor. That's when I knew I should have known. Everything was wrong. All right, well, so what are we trying to do here? I got to get all my screens back up. I had so many screens. I had such an elaborate choreography of screens. It would have been amazing. It was like a festival of drones, except it was all computer screens. It was amazing. But because of the puppy co-host, I had to shut all that stuff down and start the whole computer over again. All right, so we're going to go into Instagram. What we do on Wednesdays is take a look at Instagram, and we focus on what is focused on the Second Amendment. We care about what's going on with the Second Amendment, and because that's a very difficult thing to keep track of, and there's different people involved and different people affected, and knowing those that diversity of effect is interesting, but also useful and effective in being able to enunciate or illustrate our issues with, just one more law or why don't you care? You can say my rights are my property, but people who don't care about your rights or your property don't care about those arguments. So it is very frustrating. Unfortunately, some people either don't get it or they get paid to keep that conversation going, that debate, that endless debate. So instead of just walking up to the middle and yelling your opinion across the fence, let's find people that are reaching across the lines, are understanding what it's like to be in other people's shoes, having effective conversations with them, and let's share that so that we can end this debate and move on. There's so many other things we could be taking care of. We're stagnated here, a lot of us, because this is a crucial, fundamental right, and it is important to
communicate that with other people, because once we move on from this, all the other lesser rights are so much easier to sort out and figure out once we've established some of these critical things. So with that overall goal in mind, one of the things we do is help cross streams. There's a lot of people on Instagram that use the photographs and use the quick messages and the motivational stuff that the people on YouTube just don't get, because YouTube is a longer format. People are there to watch something for a while. A lot of audience over on YouTube. Now, a lot of people do use the comment section and interact, but I think there's a bit more of that with Instagram, because most people have to have an account, and it's so easy to add pictures that I think there's just a little bit more involvement on the Instagram side, or maybe a lot more involvement depending on what year you're talking about. Either way, we take a look at the Instagram side for about a week. So we're going to go back to just after the Every Second Matters and just bring that stuff up. One of our goals is to talk about it here on YouTube for the folks that are watching this live and the people that listen to this as a podcast. But this also becomes a transcript, and that written version of what we say here helps get the word out, helps promote the people that we're talking about today, who are of value, who I value, and I want to share. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cup of coffee if you got one. Little puppy does bring me coffee every once in a while. Not often, but I do have coffee right now. Can't hardly see it in that cup. And I got this chunk of oatmeal cookie still, so I'll be eating on that chunk of oatmeal cookie during the show. Give that dog a quick spanking, and we'll get started. All right, so starting off with Krabby Turtle, posting from Every Second Matters. Nice collection from the Gear website store. Thank you for that. I listed a commercial as the show started. The commercials run fine. The audio for the commercials comes from StreamYard, so I'm sure those worked fine. But thanks to everybody who purchases stuff, all the capitalists that purchase stuff at our store. It helps us do stuff, keeps us going, and gives us the ability to spend time on projects like this one. And hopefully it's useful. Hopefully it's fun to collect, and hopefully it's grow in value. Unlike a lot of places that make 500, 100, sometimes 15,000 patches, what's the value of something that's got 15,000 brothers and sisters? Some of these patches that he's got here, some of the patches that people buy from our store, there might be 12 of them. There might be 4. You might have the only one if I was playing around with the machines. But even when you get a production run from us, rarely can I afford to do more than 100. So often our patches are scarce, and depending on how things go, hopefully they're going to be a good investment for you. So we do appreciate the people that do it as capitalists. And as capitalists on this end, we hope to make it as good a value as possible for you. Sin Lad is our Women for Gun Rights representative here in Arizona, showing off a puppy. So we're going to show off a puppy. A lot of people here in Arizona who get paid more than me, say I shouldn't have dogs on my video at all. Anything with gun-related stuff, I shouldn't have dogs. So, like they would have a real problem with this. And they get paid good money to have a real problem with this. Now there's Gizzard, cat people. I understand their situation, but usually they can deal with a dog the same way we can deal with a cat. People that can't deal with either one, I'm not saying you can't trust people that can't deal with dogs. I'm just saying, why would you want to pay people that much money when they are scared or hate dogs or whatever it is? Anyway, we'll keep moving. So Tony Simon posts this one. This is a post of a repost or something. So I think, what happens here? Oh, it's a video. Come on, Tony. He's probably copyrighting me too. Boom, boom, boom. Yep. So it's somebody started out saying, try that in a small town. I don't know what that means. I think that was a song or something. And then there's this person saying, I believe there's a correlation. We talked about this one last week. I'm not doing this one again. Tony does that, though. He'll post reposts. Super good strategy for Instagram. He's taking Twitter and wiping it on Instagram. I'm taking Instagram and wiping it on YouTube. I think I have less success than Tony has in a lot of ways. But Tony does it more consistently, and he can do that all from his phone. So it's a super good strategy if you're trying to build either your Twitter or your Instagram. Move stuff over from one to the other. Those audiences dig each other. Some of them. Tony does a lot of political stuff. I think I do much less political stuff than he does. Chacho, it was 20 days away. Why are they showing us a drone? That's kind of mean. Show us a drone and we can't use a drone at all at the show. I just noticed that. I also don't like the flag in it, but what are you going to do, NSSF? Let's see. This is from Gun Policy. It says, you believe you should be able to pick up hammers at an Ace Hardware next to the hammers? Wait, you should be able to pick up a gun at Ace Hardware next to the hammers? They're saying yes. Technically, why would you have a gun next to the hammers? Like, you'd have other hammers and hatchets and, maybe some other sledgehammers and things, or maybe even a pick or something next to the hammers. But, guns would be in their own section. But in the same store? Yeah, of course. It's been like that for a long time. It only stopped in 1968 when a bunch of people who wanted to blame the item for the supposed acts of an assassin and take away rights from everybody. Sorry, I had to cough there. So this next one, or I guess this is the second page of it, and this is that person. Is this the same person who Tony was complaining about? Alan Franken? No. Okay, so anyhow, I think we talked about that one last week too. We'll move on. The 2024 Winter Tactical Games. So the Kalashnikov is one of the many, maybe one of 3 or 4, depending on the year, Kalashnikov focused get-togethers that are shooting events, kind of like a gun show mixed with a sporting event, mixed with a con, like a convention. So a bunch of people dress up, they have fun, they shoot competition, kind of. They have sort of a swap meet gun show type of thing. I believe there's also a lot of these have like cookouts and camping, and everybody's kind of hanging out 24/7 while they're there. And this is talking about their 2024 event, which is coming up on the 20th of January in Missouri, Houston, Missouri. I believe you should not be able to name cities and towns after cities and towns that are bigger than you. So there shouldn't be like a Houston, Missouri. That's just confusing for everybody involved. So I'm not saying they have to name the town a different name, but they should name the town a different name. But it's cool to see that these things are happening. I don't know if I have this one in my list. I think I took this out and had it sitting there on my screen for like a day, and I never put it into the calendar. I've been that busy. Not that many people are going to go to that one. It's just a kind of a regional thing. More than likely, definitely an area of interest thing. But and there might be more of these. I just pay attention to the AK ones because I kind of care about those more, I suppose. There used to be bullpup ones, and there have been ones. Well, there's some for suppressors. There's CanCon or something, and there's like QuietCon or something. So there are some for different various areas of interest. Now, do we need more? Heck yeah. Like there should be. If you have an area of interest and you are going to be going to SHOT Show and you're going to be talking to manufacturers, what's stopping you from starting up one of these events? You don't have to pay for it. All you have to do is have the idea and start talking about it. You have to be that little bird in people's ears, and you can go to SHOT Show, walk around all the different booths and say, how come we don't have a Second Amendment convention? How come a bunch of Second Amendment people don't get together and have the industry pour money on us? How come it has to be something like a can? How come it has to be something like a bump stock? Why can't it just be the people who are actually doing the work? How come the industry can't come together and do a big, what do they call it, popularity contest thing for the Second Amendment? Not gun people, the Second Amendment, the people who we truly need. At the same time, people are going to jump over and get paid by Bloomberg to watch the NRA burn. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They don't get paid by Bloomberg. They just hang out with Bloomberg and watch the NRA burn. And they'll say, somebody should do something. Yet, where's the industry supporting the women and gun rights? Where's the industry supporting a girl and a gun? Where's the industry supporting? Okay, I could shut up. But you know what I'm saying? Like we could see something happen at SHOT Show, and then all it takes is that little bird walking around with some ideas. How do I know? How do I know this happens? How do I know that this is possible? How do I know that this has happened over and over and over again? We could have a conversation about that. Craig DeLuz running. He's in office, running for more office. I think he's running for state, or did he? He ran for California. I don't know if I'm assuming he didn't win. If we don't know about it, but maybe he'll run again. But California Second Amendment activist, long time, and he says this is a thing talking about the national debt hitting the record $34 trillion as Congress gears up for funding fights. I think we did talk about this one last week also. But 34 trillion, that's a staggering amount for our politicians, that our politicians have added to the national debt. When Biden first took office, something projected we wouldn't hit this amount until 2029. I guess we did read this one last week. So that's 103,000 for every American citizen. I remember living through this before Clinton, or was it during Clinton? I think it was before Clinton. We had a massive national debt due to the Cold War, and everybody who hates the government and hates republic, or hates the republic, and hates the concept of a republic, what are we? A constitutional republic or whatever we are. And they want communism or whatever, they'll act like the national debt is going to kill us. The people who are super right want fascism, they're going to act like the debt's going to kill us. All you got to do is not spend a shit ton of money and pay off the debt, and the debt is gone. We're a massively rich country. People that fear the debt are weak. So, debt sucks, and it's sad that people got us into debt, but the weak sit down and cry when bad things happen to them, and the rest of us get up and finish it, right? So quit crying about the fucking debt and vote people out of there and pay off the fucking debt, and let's move on. This is Guns for Everyone. Busy morning politicking. They're trying to get marijuana users to obtain concealed carry or the ability for marijuana users to obtain concealed handguns in Colorado. So, it's an interesting thing. One, these are rights, and these are rights that clash, overlap, and because of, I don't know, nobody sat down and strategized this, but because of people's perceptions or whatever, they end up clashing. But if we're going to unknot that, if we're going to sort that out, I think Colorado is probably the state to do it. California could probably be another contender, but, they suck. And Alaska or Vermont, I don't know where they're at. I think they're both pretty free on both things, but, there's just not enough population in either one. So Colorado being I think they were the first, at least the first modern state to recreationalize, or whatever the word would be, decriminalize marijuana. I think they'd be a good candidate, both for the, because they got the most potential, but I think also because the people there probably give the most amount of shit. But I could be wrong. Maybe it'd be funny to see something like Texas lead the way on marijuana and guns. This one, I remember we did this one last week. So this is essentially does it say where this is? I think it's Europe. But essentially, these cats decide if you're cool or not. First, if you rub their butt the right way, they'll let you through. And every once in a while, they just decide you're not cool, and they wail on you. It's pretty good. If you had to take a subway, I would take the subway where there's cats, deciding if you're good or not. Let's see. So Colorado enacts the ghost gun ban as one of its new laws being implemented in 2024. It's super impossible to read this. I don't know what they're thinking. Let's put orange and blue on top of an orange and blue picture and not even fade it out. If they would have faded the picture behind out to like 80% of, gone, maybe you could still got the effect or whatever. Really hard to read. So I bet you colorblind might have a real problem with this. Dogs couldn't read this. It's the wrong colors for dogs. But it's from NAGA. They're saying Colorado is one of the handful of states to implement ghost gun ban as New Year's start being enforced. I tried to make a list. I don't remember if I had this one in there, but I think this might have been one of the ones I missed. I guess I could go look. So over on where did I put them? On gun calendars, I decided to add this element this year. In past years, we've had things like gun shows, of course, and other events that go on that are kind of pro, but since there's so many new gun laws this year, I figured I'd add a new piece to this one called New Gun Laws. And they're talking about Colorado, and I didn't even have Colorado on here. So, I can only do what I can do. I think the Patreons are giving me the time to work on this stuff, but if I give myself like 4 hours or half a day or something to work on this stuff, I can only find what I can find. So I'll ask people to help out, but it looks like I need to redo this graphic and add Colorado, because that's a pretty heinous, another good use of the word heinous, infringement on those folks. They get pummeled on all the damn time. So Coloradoans, there's not many of them. Colorado's like Arizona. Most of the state is just actual amazing natural scenery. The people are all crammed into just this narrow strip in Colorado for the most part, up and down the state. real challenge there. We've Colorado's a loose cannon. They could go anti real easy. Putting a lot of effort there could be useful. And you got Dragon Man there. It's pretty awesome. Some kind of dog doing his exercises. I don't know where this one came from. Probably because I look at dog pictures or something. But there's all those New Year's Eve posts going around. That one came up. She Fires is out there, actually. Actually, I haven't said hey to anybody for a bit. So She Fires is out there saying hello and helping me out with on figuring out that my mics were not working earlier. I'm assuming they're working now, right? Put me out with figuring out that my... Yep, okay. So move this further away. You can still hear it if I put it closer to the dog's face over there. All right, so thanks. And then Chris from 740 was out there. He had a show last night. Wait, no, he'll have a show. Yeah, no, he had a show. Wait, he'll have a show tonight. No, tomorrow night. I don't even know what day it is. He'll have a show tomorrow night, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow night. And we'll be talking about SHOT Show. I guess that's what happens when you wake up late and then immediately start your show. You get to try to figure out what day of the week it is. There's She Fire saying hey, and then making excuses for the lazy co-host. The Falcon picture. Oh, because you were talking about, Brooke was talking about the dogs getting carried away by hawks and raptors. So I'm always worried about that. So I've given him some nunchucky training. Everybody saying hey to each other. Let's see. So, our Calcast is joining in. Welcome. Oh, okay. Asking me a good question here. Any recommendations on a sub pump for HD or Lowe's? Anything I should avoid? You're talking about a sump pump for what's a HD? No idea what HD is. Oh, you mean Home Depot or Lowe's? I don't go to those places personally. In my area, when I was working, I learned about all the plumbing supply places. So I usually just go straight to a plumbing supply place for two reasons. One is they're going to have the weird pieces I need. Home Depot is going to have like the generic piece that fits everything. Like hey, we can engineer a piece that's going to fit all the threads, or we're going to fit a piece that fits all the water heaters or something. So they do fit all the water heaters, kinda, But you can go to a plumbing repair place or like a contractor's place and get the part for yours. It might not be the part from the company, but it'll be a part that fits on your water heater or something. So in that case, a sub pump, I'm thinking the ones from Home Depot, they don't know what you're doing with them. They're sort of like everything else at a big box store. They're just doing it for price. They know what people will pay for a sump pump. So that's what they price their sump pump at. And then they go tell somebody, make us sump pumps for this money. Where the contractor place is probably looking for a sump pump that you can put out there and it's going to last 14 years. I might be wrong, but I would go look around for a plumbing place. Now, I had to cheat because I used to work, so I got to go into places and buy like 14 sump pumps or something. Like I could go in and buy stuff for the restaurants and then go back on my own time and be like, hey, remember me? I'm a good customer. Like, help me out with my house stuff or, some side job I was doing. So I kind of knew some of the people, and I could go to the stores in town where, I'd already done big purchases or I knew the people. But you could probably get in with them. You do enough stuff, I bet. Like if you got in with some of these contractor places, I bet you get to where you got good terms with them. I might be telling you stuff you already know, but that would be my thing. I don't like the Home Depot or the Lowe's if I can help it. Nobody knows anybody's real names, I don't think. I think it's either a generational thing or it's just a back and forth thing. But most of us came on board on the internet back in the day when the internet was being created. And that means that we all were kind of taking our cues from CB radio and, that kind of thing, and movies and what. So we all had these like names that we used on the internet. And the way that the internet worked and stuff, it was very risky to put your real name out there. So there was reasons why people would be people would suggest, use a just an internet name. Nowadays, the kids, one, they're reckless. They just don't care about privacy. They don't understand why you'd want to be private. I'm sure they're getting told privacy is a value of the capitalists, and communists don't like privacy. You don't need privacy, comrade. That's the kind of shit they're being told. So they like using their real names. I think it's ridiculous. I don't understand why people do that. And anyway, so that's just, I think, hopefully it'll swing back. It could just be that like a bunch of kids were like, our parents all use their internet names and we're going to be cool and different. We're going to use our real names. And nobody smacked them around and said, quit it. That's super risky. But they all a bunch of them just use their real names. Makes no sense at all. No sense at all. I mean, look at every actor that they worship. No actor is really using their real name. Actors even used fake names, So it makes no sense that people are using their real names. Then they go online and go, here's my birthday. Here's my dog's name. Crazy. Here's my mom. Like, come on. The problem really is the cities. Cities are big. So the problem is big, right? I don't know if it's... Because there's probably good cities. Is there a good city? What's the best city? What would be the best city? I'm going to say Chicago, but you might come at me with that one. New York is introducing himself when it comes to whatever. I like to be able to go into gun shops and stuff and not be like, oh, look, there's that guy. And now let's blah, 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 because it's that guy. People live for that. People do everything they can to be recognized, and there's a negative side to that people, again, they jump into things before they realize it, and you can't not do it. So I'm not interested in what I'm doing. I'm interested in what we do. You know what I mean? Like, who cares who's doing it? Let's talk about what gets done. Basement pump. Gotcha. It's a replacement for a customer for something that will last even a bit more. She's not a stickler on price. But yeah, then I go back to my thing. Let's see. Midnight. Just by itself? That's interesting. There's one that I have seen typically. Probably understand. I don't know what that's about. All right, so with that, we got She Fires. It says, my sense of security is reinforced by the ownership of firearms. It's a good message, and I like these types of posts, especially on Instagram, as people scroll. Think about the psychology of it. They're scrolling, they're being entertained, they're trying to pass the time. Maybe they're, who knows? But most people are on their phone either for their fix or to pass some time. They're trying to move along. So this is the kind of thing that's a differentiate. It sets itself apart. These kind of posts, I think, set themselves apart from the typical, and give the accentuate. Is that the way you say it? Like they make the scrolling through Instagram useful as opposed to just mind numbing. You're not going to reach everybody with this post. Of course, they have to be following you. Then they got to be interested in this kind of thing for Instagram to want to give it to them. But you're going to reach people who are interested in being reached, and every once in a while you're going to reach somebody else, and you're going to be dropping something on them that's easy to read, quick, and it's not offensive. Some people will try to accomplish some other stuff with, kind of stopping their feeds. But I think this is a very positive way to stop somebody's feed. The Forge of Freedom podcast has got their 1 year anniversary. Pretty cool. I've been enjoying that podcast. NSSF says ATF is decisively indecisive on implementing Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. So you thought that was a great message, not NSSF. Who's supposed to be able to read that back and forth? ATF is decisively indecisive. All right, so I guess that's funny. On implementing Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Like, everyone just knows what the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is. Maybe we should. That's the Republican-backed gun control that happened in 2022. But most people aren't talking about it. And since everybody, isn't talking about it, I don't think Bipartisan Safer Communities Act is the tip of everybody's tongue. The BSCA is what we should be calling it. BATF was quick to implement portions of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the BSCA, BSCA, I don't know what to call it, that benefit their gun control agenda, but seem to be ignoring other parts of the law that would make it easier for firearms retailers to do business. The Biden-Harris administration is cherry-picking the law to appease gun control advocates and ignoring portions of the law that actually keeps guns out of the hands of criminals. And it seems that that's a polite way of saying that's exactly what's happening. I don't know what that means. President Joe Biden has been proud to tell his political donor class, I like that he was responsible for signing into law the bipartisan saying BSCA, what he terms as the most meaningful gun safety law in 30 years. NSSF didn't support the law in its entirety. There were portions of the law that were just unacceptable. The law failed to provide a meaningful definition of a willful violation for firearms retailers that could cost them their license and livelihood in a zero-tolerance policy era. That was just one point of difference, but there were points upon which NSSF agreed. Yet the administration is dragging its feet when it comes to implementing those parts of the law. So now there's people yanking on NSSF's chain for that. So we've got people that are willing to fight for the sake of fighting, bitch for the sake of bitching, and political strategists who are watching from the other side. You think they're just dumbasses who didn't go to freaking college to learn how to play this chess game, or that they're not picked for their jobs because they're savvy and ruthless? So they're watching us be dumbasses over here while dumbass NSSF backs a bullshit anti-gun law, and then idiots on our side use that dumbass action by the NSSF to further divide us. Fucking idiots. This is the kind of bullshit that's going to happen right before 2024. Fucking criminy. So this is, I only posted this one to indicate that NSSF definitely puts their foot fully up their ass often. Like, they are not paying attention. They're tone deaf as shit, and they're not consistent. And we're willing to yank each other all over the place and not move ahead because the views, or what the fuck, the couple of bucks you're going to make on your fucking video when you rag on them is worth it. You got people who are getting paid by Bloomberg to hate the NRA. No, excuse me, they don't get paid by Bloomberg. They just fucking hate the NRA for no fucking reason. And then people get paid to fuel that fire. And now you got this shit? Come on. So now we're not going to trust NSSF if you listen to the dipshits out there that are getting paid a couple of coffee dollars or some t-shirt bucks to rag on NSSF casually and then move on to rag about something else with passion. We're idiots. Well, we allow ourselves to be idiots. And then we complain because the other side isn't keeping up with us. Like, we're not on pace. We're tripping ourselves up. And if we're not going to pay attention to each other, tripping ourselves up, we're going to be constantly kind of double stepping, or whatever that is, skip stepping. Here we go. So Brooke came at me with, if you wear a falconry glove in the park and frantically look around the sky, everyone with a small pet will leave. I took that as a coming at me. So then, I think that's what the kids would say. Brooke came at me. So then I decided to go to my robot friend on the internet and, where is it? Come over here and say something to the effect of, I'm going to train my little dog to fight off falcons. And we came up with these. So we got this one, but this one looked too much like the falcon just took his nunchuck. So I didn't like this one. This is DJ. Wait, I'm going the wrong way. Oh, am I going the wrong way? What happened to him? Oh, they're all interspersed in here. So this is the next one. And I like this one. In this one, he's got a black belt on. The falcon is trying to get him. But he only has one half of a nunchuck, and he's kind of spinning it around. He's playing around a little bit too much in this one. And then, man, there's a lot of them. They're all mixed in here. Hold on. Where did they all go? There's at least 4. But they somehow mixed in. This one was good, but they stuck a monkey in there. I don't usually have a problem with somebody sticking a monkey in places, But in this case, I'm involved in this whole situation. So I might take this one and put it into a different AI and remove the monkey, and then give him a full set of nunchucks, maybe a double set. He can handle a double set of nunchucks. That was another one, and then this was the last one, which has some kind of weird griffin baby, like a baby griffin in it. But he also does look like he's doing a pretty good job of doing some kind of a split Chaco deal. But yeah, AI is pretty awesome. And I usually have things set in the Arizona desert because, of course, I live in the Arizona desert. So that was, I don't know where Brooke came out with that one. Just out of nowhere came at us. But I think we defended ourselves quite well. This one is from Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. I gotta say every time I talk about them. Last night we had a plant at the Moms Demand Action legislative preview meeting. Here is the gun control they are pushing this session. So Moms at Arms does, and it sounds like Rocky Mountain Gun Owners. I know a couple of other people send people to the anti-meetings, and a lot of times they're like Zoom meetings and stuff like that, where they talk about their agendas and stuff. I'm sure they send people to ours. And, if we're in there bickering amongst each other, like, I don't like the way that so-and-so did the such and such, that's what they're taking back to their political strategists and their groups, giving them either more, what's the word? Either emboldening them or hardly ever, though I'm sure giving them reason to quit this whole thing. But anyway, so it says, here's what they have in mind. Banning campus and church carry and expanding gun-free zones. Permit to purchase 1 gun per month. Gun owner liability insurance. Red flag law expansion. Stricter background checks. Possible Tom Sullivan bill, Jamie's law. We will need all hands on deck to fight back against this tyranny. Well, okay, so that's exactly the same playbook as ever. They haven't done anything new. They're just taken their playbook and they're decided to peel these 6 pages out of it again. So at some point we're going to quit going, everybody has to jump on board because it's the worst thing ever, whenever they're throwing at us the medium, the normal, like the mean average. Not that we should always bring the mean, we should be winning, but it's the messaging. And that's why you got to say every once in a while when you pay attention to these organizations, and pay attention to who runs these organizations. It says, Colorado, keep in mind they want this rapidly everywhere. Get involved at your state level. This is from 1 Million Moms Against Gun Control. So the national level organizations are getting echoed by the the groups that are focused on areas of interest. Foss came out with a new sticker, a new slap, the kids would say, and it's the Voltron with an M60 with the pig. Pretty cool. I like this one a lot. This would be a good thing to make a transformer, like get a real Voltron like doll and get an M60 and put it in his hands. I think that'd be pretty cool. This one is from Unapologetically Armed. So what is she replying to? Teresa Inniker. So Teresa Inniker said, our children can't be defended without guns. Protect our children like we protect our politicians. I don't know how you feel about that one. That one's been going around the last couple of years. Treat our kids or protect our kids like you protect your politicians. Problem is, it's not really equal. There's, a pile of politicians in a room or two here and there, in a building here and there, 1 building per state type of thing. And there's schools every mile. So it doesn't quite equal out. Plus, lightning happens, so, like we need to put domes over every school. Like, no, lightning rods worked. But anyway, it's on Unapologetic Arms. Says, treat children like the treasures they are. I like that one better. So we'll move on, because politicians, maybe we don't need to defend politicians. Maybe we stop protecting politicians. How about that? We don't have to build everything else. Maybe just down build them. I don't know. I'm just talking. So Rebecca and 1 Million Moms are posting this one. I've been told that I have extreme views on politics. If by that you mean I believe that the Constitution says it means, and it says what it means and means what it says, then yes, I extremely believe that. I guess that's funny. And then this part says, individual liberty always seems extreme to those who don't want to take personal responsibility. I like that one. And it's too long, but I like that message. And I don't know if people who don't like to take responsibility would like take that as a challenge or as some kind of a hit, but I think that's the fact. And it's frustrating, but those that are interested in the goal of individual liberty, it's just frustrating, but guess what? Other people don't want that. They don't have to. It's just one of those things. So if they don't want to take that personal responsibility, we don't get to make them. We just have to understand that they're not like that. There's got to be ways to talk to those people in spite of the fact they're never going to agree with what we agree with. Moving on, Wilderness Tactical, awesome company up in Phoenix area. They had a $5 off on these cuffs. So first, I like promoting the company. They're cool. They've been making good USA-made materials here in Phoenix for a long time. Hold on. What's going on? Somebody has a coughing fit right in the middle of a prepared scripted video. So anyway, they've been making these things for a long time. A lot of things for a long time. They've been making these ankle cuffs for quite a while. So ankle cuffs are ankle cuffs. Some people like them with all the sheep wool and crap in there. They get pretty bulky with all that stuff. They're certainly comfortable, but they get pretty bulky. Once you start wearing an ankle cuff, and I'm not going to recommend them for everybody. You got to have the right kind of ankle. But if you're able to and you're willing to, I think these are one of the more handy ways to always have first aid with you. Now, if you're a person who's going into places or you have the concern, you could easily add a magazine to this. But if you're carrying a firearm on your ankle, this is a no-brainer. You want the balance. You want the mirroring or whatever, like the balance of the something on your other ankle to give you the weight. Otherwise, you start walking lopsided sometimes, or it just feels weird. And if you're down with wearing a firearm on your ankle, you'll understand that putting something on your ankle ain't nothing. Have you ever worn boots? Do you get like all physically tired whenever you wear boots? Like you have to rest whenever you're walking around in boots? That's what it's like having something on your ankle. People just don't do it, so it seems like a burden. Once you put something on your ankle, you forget that you even are carrying that gun around. So people that don't carry second guns, hey, you can live your life how you want. Some people think you're crazy for carrying a gun. Some people think you're crazy for only carrying one gun. So if you want to carry a little, like a 380 or a 22 even, think about an NAA on your ankle. Is that going to hurt you? Is it going to cause problems? You're going to have a rash? What about like a P3AT, little Caltech 380 or whatever the new fancy version of that is, probably something with an optic. Or like the J-frame, little revolver. Guess what? Now you can wear whatever pants you want. You can wear whatever shirts you want. You can walk around without a shirt on if you want. Do whatever you want. And you've got to still have some protection. Well, even if you don't do a gun, having some first aid stuff on you is usually a good idea if you're responsible for little tiny things that don't care about their safety, right? And that might be two-legged or four-legged or something else. If they have blood in the circulatory system, though, then it's probably pretty critical to stop that blood loss. If they fall over something or something gets poked, I don't have weird delusions that people are getting into gunfights. And if they are, they probably need to carry first aid in a place besides their ankle. But regular people die all the damn time because we have a pressure system of fluid in us. And when you break that system, all our fluid leaks out. And the only way to stop that is by pushing something in there that creates a clot that lets the blood naturally clot and restrict the flow of blood. It's super simple. And you do that by smashing on the wound with direct pressure. Now, if you can't do that because the wound's so large, then you put a tourniquet on to stop the flow of blood to the limb. But a tourniquet can also create a pressure dressing that can stop the flow of blood when you don't need an actual tourniquet. So essentially a tourniquet and a pressurized, or I shouldn't say pressurized, a tourniquet and a sterile pressure bandage are essential. That's all you need. A tourniquet and a sterile pressure bandage will save most people's lives 99% of the time. Now you've got breathing and you've got other issues, but those can be improvised. It's very difficult to improvise a worthwhile tourniquet immediately. So I like a SWAT tourniquet, which is essentially a big fat rubber band, a little smaller than a pack of cigarettes, and a pressure bandage like an Israeli bandage, a small one, or just whatever compressed, vacuum sealed pressure bandage. So a pressure bandage is a big piece of cotton with some gauze on it. That's all it is. And it's compressed. So in other words, vacuum sealed and smushed down really hard so that it feels like a brick, but it puffs up. And what that does is allow place for blood to collect in order to clot. So unlike some of the other stupid ideas out there that just suck blood in, these are designed to create pressure in the cavity so that your capillaries compress and blood starts to clot. So carrying a tourniquet is super, super, super smart. Again, if you're responsible for the lives of other little things running around, a SWAT tourniquet can work on a little baby dog leg. Like this little dog has toothpick legs. A SWAT tourniquet would work on this. If something happened to his foot, it would work on other little critters too. So wearing it on your ankle is essentially nothing. It's essentially just remembering to put it on is all. So they're getting $5 off. They don't pay me or nothing. They're not a sponsor. I just like their company for a long time. All right, so now we get to Stephen Holbrook with this coin. And it says, during the American Revolution, women and children assisted the militiamen in preparing for conflict. In the eve of the clash, militia Colonel James Barrett's 15-year-old granddaughter, Millicent, taught the other young women of the town how to assemble cartridges. On an earlier occasion, when the British officer asked how many of the colonists could resist without being able to make cartridges, she responded, they would use powder horns and bullets just as they shot bear. Anyway, that's pretty cool. So you forget about, everybody was part of the revolution and nothing just happens. People think about the conflicts or the battles and they just assume that like magically you blink and you have all the supplies necessary and you just get yourself there somehow. But in reality, an entire country has to facilitate. Something slaps. That was something slaps in the 90s, dude. Right? Slaps now are stickers. I think that's actually old, though. That's from like a couple years back. Let's see. So this is Rebecca Schmoy. What you disagree with me what you disagree with me about tells me what you believe. How you choose to disagree with me shows me who you are. Another excellent one. Hold on. I ain't coughing so much. I think I have a hair in my throat. I wonder why I have a hair in my throat. My coffee is about 3 inches behind him, and he keeps getting up and shaking. I'm probably drinking more hair than I am coffee. So, I really like this one. How you choose to disagree with me shows me who you are. Again, I don't know how many times you have disagreements with people, but hopefully you're banking all that. You're learning from those interactions. And if our goal is to argue, there's lots of ways to figure out how to argue, watch people bicker. But if our goal is to end disagreements by awareness, this could be some good strategy. It's from 2A Rally. Our rally is coming up here in Arizona. Our rally is in February each year. Now, there's one in Iowa this week, and there's one next week, and there's one in Virginia next week. But our rally here in Arizona is in February 17th. So this is from the people who host the rally, 2A Rally AZ. And it says, this is a rifle, this is a rifle, this is also a rifle. Assault is an action, not an object. It's kind of an old one, but this is kind of stuff that they'll post on our rally account. So I don't even know who runs the account. DM Foss is out there. Welcome. I coughed so hard I had to sit here and sit for a minute. Holy moly. I do feel like there's like a hair or something in the back of my throat. Sorry. I have to keep pausing to cough here. One of the accounts I follow is called Kalashnikov Digest, and you just don't see Bulgarian cranks very often. I mean, it's possible this is Russian nowadays. I don't know. It's definitely either Bulgarian or Russian, though. just the standard actual crink. I mean, I guess I'm used to seeing Bulgarians in this country. It's possible that's a Russian because they look very similar, but that's the sort of the classic crink when they first were built. You just don't see them very often. Pretty nice. I don't like them all new like this. Look kind of boring to me all new. I'd rather see them look like they've done something before. There's our reaction to Brooke coming at us, who we talked about earlier. I didn't take any time to edit them. I just got them raw out of the, what do you call it? Robot. Here in Arizona, here in Tucson, we have the Pima Air Museum. So I've been to 14 or something air museums, Air Force museums, airplane museums, whatever you want to call them, around the country. And the big one is in Ohio, of course, the National Air and Space Museum at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, right? Amazing. I've been going to that one for my whole life. I've been going there since I was a little kid. And it's awesome. That's the first time I got to touch an SR-71, I believe. Or no, that's the first time I seen an SR-71. And then now I live in Tucson, and we have, it's not the biggest, but it is the best air museum that exists. Why? Because you can just walk up and touch everything. Like everything, there's no gates, there's no fences, on nothing. Maybe on a couple of things, but on pretty much everything, there's nothing. So I love our museum. It's awesome. It's $50 a year to be a member, and it gets you into the Titan Missile Museum, which is our Titan intercontinental ballistic missiles. We have 3 squadrons of them here in Tucson. There's 3 of them in Kansas, and there's 3 of them in Arkansas. And we have the museum here in Tucson, mainly because here in Tucson, the 9-story deep silos don't flood unless, or some of them do, but most of our silos didn't just flood. Every other one, if you didn't constantly have a pump running, it would flood with groundwater. So this is, one of the ones that they were able to keep from, relatively easily in existence. So they have one that's completely undestroyed, unmolested, and it's the museum. All they've done is remove the nuclear stuff from the missile, permanently disable the hatch from blowing open anymore, permanently open the hatch like halfway, and then cut a big hole in the missile's warhead so that from space, Russia can see down into the missile silo and into the missile and see that there's no warhead in it. And you can go look down that hole. It's pretty awesome. So they take you on a tour, and the people that actually manned the silo, the actual silo crews, are the people that run the museum. So for the time being, while those people are still kicking, they're running the museum tours, and it's awesome. So for $50, you get to go to the Titan Missile Museum anytime you want. I've used the CB radio, the ham radio at the Titan Missile Museum. There's the radios that the silos would use to communicate with the outside world. Those radio antennas are just disconnected, and there's a wire hanging there. And if you're a ham radio operator, you can just hook up to that wire at the museum and use their missile museum or the Titan missile silo antenna to talk to people. It's pretty neat. I tried to talk to the space station from that. And then there's the museum, and the museum has a crap ton of airplanes. They keep getting new ones all the time. The museum keeps getting bigger all the time. And that's the first time I touched an SR-71, because out here, the planes are just sitting there. They're just sitting out in the world. You can go up to them. So Russian MiGs, my Doberman has peed on Russian MiGs before. So it's awesome. So my dog walked up and peed on a Russian MiG. I'm pretty sure there's nobody in Russia who has a dog that's peed on a F-16 or something. So we won the Cold War, and this is the spoils. We get to look at all the stuff that we created as a people to defend against tyranny, and then what the tyrannists came up with to try to infringe that tyranny on everybody. You get to see the quality of the equipment. Hearing about it, seeing it in pictures is one thing. Fiddling with it, touching it, being around it, you can see the difference in a Russian airplane and a United States airplane, and a Europe airplane or a German airplane and a U.S. airplane. There's a reason we are where we are, and airplanes are one way to kind of get the finger on that pulse. So anyway, taking a second here to talk about our museum. It's pretty awesome. And now they've got this thing. Well, I guess they've had it for a while. You can either go there and get on this like little train thing, and they drive you all around because the airplanes are kind of big. So you're walking. You can go in there with your dogs and you can just walk around, or you can get on that little cart thing. I don't think it costs anything. I think you just have to wait for it. but you can get on that little train thing. It's kind of like what they have at zoos sometimes. And you just jump on, and then the guy will talk to you about what you're driving past. And I brought the dog on that little thing before. Or you can go in and do this audio tour where you push the button every time you walk up to something, and it'll tell you about it. So you can do this like self-paced. You can do it as a group. I'm sure you could probably ask them for a tour guide and bring a group in too. It says audio tour devices are available for $5. Oh, I guess you got to pay $5 and then you plug in your little headset or whatever. Plus general admission, and the device is available for $7. At the Titan Missile Museum. Oh, I see. They have the same thing at the Missile Museum now for $7. Okay, well, maybe I'll have to go in there and check that out. It says it's also included in the topside only tour, should visitors want to learn about the missile sites without underground access. Anyway, that's super cool. So, yeah, now you know about our silos and stuff. And how much time do we have before Cape Gunworks goes live, by the way? Man, I'm sitting here acting like there's no time today. I think I still have plenty of time. Notice that Christmas M4L just hit 6,000 subs. Posted about that. Congrats. A license. What is this? Scheduled for 110. Is that today? I'll be danged. For 11:23. All right, so that one hasn't gone live. And then, did they also have a show scheduled? I'm pretty sure they had a show scheduled. There it is. 88 minutes. Well, I got tons of time. Brooke's off to go work. Good afternoon. Thanks for jumping in. Here I go to coffee. Maybe I got the ick. That's something happening to me. Where were we down here? I think we were just talking about that audio tour. And then we get to Ginny Thrasher going to the Olympic trials. Unfortunately, I haven't heard anything from Ginny in a while. Either I'm missing it or she hasn't posted anything. Let's see. In 2016, I won the first gold medal of the entire Olympics. I was 19 years old and the youngest one in the women's air rifle final. Now I'm 25 and my full-time job is to train and compete and represent the U.S. to the best of my ability. A few more facts about me you may not know. What? That can't be. That says September 22. Okay. So this is the newest one. It says, Olympic trials have finished and I ended up 6th place. Between a serious back injury and short quad due to COVID, it's been a challenging few years in my shooting career, but I'm unbelievably proud of my work, personal growth, resiliency, and actions as a representative of myself in this sport during this time. I would like to thank my support system, including my coach, parents, husband, sponsors, U.S. OPC staff, and the USA Shooting for their help on this journey to the Olympic trials. Although this is not how I'd hoped or prepared for my year to go, the USA will be represented by some incredible athletes in Paris this summer. Many of them, especially in women's air rifle, are shooting at world-class levels, and I will be proud to cheer them on at the Olympics. And then she mentions the people that win. So that's too bad. So this is one of the gun shops in Illinois that are cool. And it says they've got a factory shoot coming up on March 9th. I'm not going to be listing every factory thing from every gun shop in there, but I certainly like to link to them on shows like this one. If you ever get a chance, if you haven't been to something like this, typically the gun shop will talk to their different factory reps and invite them to show up for a day like this. And this is a gun shop that has a range, so they'll be able to bring guns and stuff. Like it says, shoot the demo guns. But you'll be able to meet their representatives. Their representatives are always going to come with like a selection of all the different samples of what they've got. So a store might not stock everything that a company has, or there might be something brand new that's hard to get or something like that. And when these factory reps show up, they often bring those things. Then they're going to bring stuff like their merch and their swag and that kind of stuff. So you typically get something for free when you show up to these things, and then have the potential to win, something, or, do something like a giveaway or a door prize or whatever. So in this case, it's 9 weeks away in March, and GAT's an awesome star. If you've ever been to it, it's awesome. Then you get to the American Suppressor Association. This is them talking about their year-end wrap-up, I think. Yeah, this is them talking about their year-end policy update. I think they do the best. They do the best job. American Suppressor Association does the best job of, running a national level rights-focused organization. In this case, focused on the suppressors and our rights to own them, kind of thing. So I don't agree with them 100% of the time. I'd like them to lean into removing the laws more than making the laws easier, but they do sort of a dual role. While they're attempting to get rid of the laws, they understand we still have the laws, and they do what they can to make that more possible, faster, and whatnot. But either way, they do the best job of summarizing what they've done and just being effective. They don't get into any bickering that I'm aware of. They don't get into much bragging or being weird about it. They do a little bit, but they're, kind of a healthy amount of bragging, I guess. Or letting people know that, they've accomplished stuff. But they don't unnecessarily brag about every little tiny thing or everything they're about to do. Some of these organizations will brag about what they're about to do or what they're just starting, and they never follow up with all the times that there was no results of that. So American Suppressor Association, in my opinion, does about the best at just being a very effective, I think effective is the best word, national organization. And you can check that out and kind of get an idea of that with that year-end summary. This is just super cool. So this is some guy with a helicopter. I don't know if that is water for a cement truck or if that's cement. But yeah, people that know what they're doing, watching people who know what they're doing is pretty neat. So, again, if you've never worked underneath a helicopter, some of them know what they're doing, and some of them are cocky and they're just lucky. But this is pretty neat. I mean, that's a pretty hefty helicopter. It's got some engine up there, but there's some skill there, some understanding of what, the physics or whatever of how that basket and stuff. So I'm guessing, since that's a cement truck, that just brought an empty one, and now he's pulling a full one, to go bring it to some location. I've never done building with the helicopter. I've only worked with them for firefighting, for stuff like this, but it's pretty neat. Then we got Faster, Saves Lives, great organization that educates facilities and everybody at a school, everyone from the facilities to the administrators to the instructors, on how to deal with all emergencies. And we were talking about the bipartisan Republican-backed gun control that came out 2 years ago. That's essential. One piece of that was to remove the rights of 18 to 21-year-olds. That was the biggest part. And then the second giant part of it was to take billions of dollars of tax dollars and put it aside into a pile, and then to take from that pile and give to the states that do the most anti-gun bullshit each year for the next 5 or 10 years. Hopefully Faster falls into the qualification of anti-gun bullshit, because part of their anti-gun bullshit was mental health and part of it was education and stuff. Problem is, I'm pretty sure they qualified it as no education can include firearms. So since Faster doesn't hate firearms, they probably don't qualify for the income. And the thing shouldn't exist. They should dismantle the whole concept and put that money back into circulation or destroy the money. But instead, it's going to go to Bloomberg. It's just a money scheme to get Bloomberg his money back. Anyway, Faster standing adjacent to all that, they'll either get a little slice of it or they won't get nothing. Or they'll be distracted trying to get that little slice that they waste a lot of their time doing effective things. We'll see. So this is the one of the museums that's super cool. Is the Los Angeles Police Museum. It's in an old police station, and it's kind of, if you've ever seen the movie Terminator. Terminator comes out of the past in that little bubble, and he takes that guy's leather jacket. This is just down the hill from there, so it's right in the middle of LA, and they do all kinds of cool stuff. And this is just one example. So this is them saying, we are saying farewell to 2023, a year that was filled with growth, excitement, and also its fair share of challenges. We're bringing new energy to 24. Stay tuned for exciting updates around the museum. So I guess they're just showing you like flashes of the different things that they've done. But there's some shoots, like they have competitions and shoots, and they show up at those. They've done some historical stuff where they send people out in all the different like uniforms of the different eras of police officers and stuff. There's things that they'll do in the what do they call it, like the police academy and the actual police departments, where the museum will bring chunks of their past or elements of their own past to them, which is pretty cool. They're playing around with Star Wars and stuff, and then they bring a ton of kids into the museum and give them imagine, what's the word, like some kind of interaction with police that isn't negative, right? It gives them some awareness of the history of that whole idea. And LA Police is a pretty big police department, and it's more interesting than the New York Police Department. You can come at me if you want. Mike, you haven't been there yet? Oh man, definitely go there. It's a couple of bucks, but you're giving money to a good organization. I think it's definitely worth going. I don't know where you live and where it is, so if it's a pain in the ass or not, but it's pretty neat. Now, here's one I have not been to. The Marshall Museum is one of them on my list. It only got built like last year or something, but I've been watching it get built, and I thought this was pretty cool. A lot of museums have tons of cool stuff, and unless you spend hours and hours and hours in there, you're just never going to experience it all. And even if you did, I don't even want to tell you how many of the museums hoard half of their crap in the archives. They don't even put it all out on display because they insist on doing what this place is doing and only showing you 4 guns in the place that could show you probably 16 guns, because they think you have to be all fancy about it and you have to have all this dead air everywhere. Well, whatever. You can't tell the museum curators that they're idiots and that they should put everything on display, and people would appreciate that more than only getting to see what they think is important. But in this case, what you've got is kind of using the socials as a means of getting information out there. So they're focusing on, in this case, this show Gunsmoke and whatnot, showing you some of the stuff about Gunsmoke. But this might be something you miss, or might be something you don't know about at the museum. So I like the idea that the museums would do these kind of things. I'd love to see J.M. Davis do one of these every day. I'd like to see Dragon Man, actually, I think we're going to show you here in a bit. But Dragon Man really does this well. Some of the other museums hate you, and they hate that they have to deal with guns, so they don't show guns at all. I mean, some of them really hate guns, but they just have them because they were given them and they can't do nothing about it. So they show them to you, but they ignore them. Other ones own all the guns, have literally some of the best guns ever. There's at least one museum that has some of the best guns ever, and they insist on only showing you a portion of them because they think it's more important to be fancy than it is to actually show you anything that people want to see, like the history of our guns. Anyway, so I thought this was an example of one of the museums doing something cool. Got NRA stepping down, and what do you think about that? Were you satisfied with the coverage of that, or with the what's going to happen now? Essentially, from my experience, people look like they're essentially going, Bloomberg does pay me enough to hate the NRA, and even with Wayne gone, I'm getting paid enough by Bloomberg to still hate the NRA. Oh, no, wait, sorry, they don't get paid by Bloomberg, but they just hate the NRA still. The Tactical Games is coming up here in Arizona, February 24th through the 25th, I guess. I might be back for that. No, I won't be. That'll be while we're at SHOT Show. So that's fun of them to do something while we're at SHOT Show. I guess a bunch of people that don't go to SHOT Show are going to go to this. I wonder why they would schedule something during the week of SHOT Show. Anyway, the Tactical Game seems interesting. It's a bunch of people that are really in shape, and they run around and do stuff and exercise and everything while they're shooting. Brings a bunch of guys and girls together. I'm assuming it's a bunch of military people, but I'm not really sure. It might just be CrossFit people. But seems interesting. I've got Gunpowder Beauty. Welcome. 10 miles from it. Oh, man. I'm going to start bugging you about it now. I mean, you don't got to go, but come on. You could walk there almost. So this is unofficially licensed. This is the unofficially licensed Rambo First Blood 41st Anniversary Hunt Edition poster by some guy. I don't buy posters. Would I buy this one? No. This has got the bridge and him in the wilderness is the most important parts of the movie. I don't know if those are the most important parts of the movie. I mean, the part being in the wilderness is a big chunk of the movie or whatever, but they don't show his knife very good. And I don't know if the bridge is that big a deal for me. So, anyway, pretty interesting. First Blood, Rambo, First Blood Part 2. Rambo, First Blood. It's not Rambo. It's First Blood, Rambo Part 1 is what it is. But they started calling it Rambo because of the second one. But originally, all we said was First Blood because that was the movie. And then Rambo came out and lampooned it. But originally, First Blood was one of the coolest movies ever. I mean, seriously, one of the coolest movies ever. Then Rambo came out and it turned into like garbage. It turned into exploitive, big budget summer movie crap. So First Blood started out amazing, and then it turned into Rambo, the buffoonish, let's make knives bigger every movie and try to compete with Commando and stuff like that. So it took a bad turn, but First Blood was it was a pretty good movie. Probably up there with Red Dawn as far as like important movies for people in my generation and that generation. That 2A rally I mentioned, this is some pictures from last year's 2A rally. So we have booths, we've got the conversation, the speeches. This gives you an idea how big the thing is. They've moved it finally from the grass in front of the place over to the park, which is great in like 17 different ways, but really let it spread out this last year. So I wouldn't say the most amount of people ever, but the event gets bigger. And with not that many people, it was a very pleasant, like, saturation of people. But I'm sure they want more people there. And it can now handle probably 3 times the amount of people. Guess what? Another post about that rally. This one is from Rebecca Schmoy saying the Biden-Harris administration has funded, with your tax money, a public push to install further gun control measures at the state level. What are you doing about it? Then it says President Joe Biden to establish the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention to be overseen by Vice President What's-Her-Face. And then there's some articles, I guess, White House to announce first ever federal office. Like, this isn't new news. I don't know why everybody's talking about this. Kansas won't be taking the Biden-Harris infringement suggestion. The right of the people to keep and bear arms is clear and concise within the U.S. Constitution. We will continue to be honoring that right. And then it talks about finally at the end of this whole thing, 2024 Kansas legislative session 2A kickoff, Saturday, January 13th at 1 p.m. at the Topeka Public Library. I don't know how close Gizzard is to Topeka. I haven't said Topeka in a long time. What happens in Topeka? Why doesn't everybody talk about Topeka more often? Representative Rebecca Schmoy, upcoming legislation. Chuck Haggard, impact of local elections and community safety. And Tommy Bartles, tips for being a 2A advocate. That sounds interesting. Do not think for a moment that the Bruin decision, look at that. The Bruin decision means that the incessant push for gun control will subside. The federal government is now openly using your tax dollars to push for unconstitutional legislation in your state. Yes, even here in Kansas. What are you doing to help your pro-freedom legislators push back against this blatant attack on your natural and fundamental right to self-defense? Get involved, make your voice heard, visit your state capitol, contact your legislators, show up at Pro-2A events, find out how you can make a difference. And maybe add, get involved, like, bring your friends. Like, you don't have to do this by yourself. It doesn't have to be a solo mission. This one was pretty neat. So I don't know where this one came up. Probably said look at military stuff or whatever. But this says Native American Marine pilot, NASA astronaut Colonel Nicole Duke Victoria Anapu Mon, Native American Nation, Wallakai Round Valley Indian Tribe, United States Marine Corps, F-18 Hornet pilot. So without any formatting, that was hard to read. Says she has over 2,500 flight hours in 25 types of aircraft and 200 carrier landings, and has flown 47 combat missions in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. First U.S. Marine female astronaut, NASA. First Marine Native American female astronaut. NASA time in space 157 days, 10 hours and 1 minute. Total entry vehicle something hours, 14 hours and 20 minutes. I don't know what that means. Awarded 2 air medals, 2 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation medals, and 2 Navy and Marine Corps Achievement medals. It's freaking amazing. So there's probably not that many people that are able to do any of this shit. I didn't even know she existed. So it's pretty cool. 157 days in 10 hours in space. So we're over here bickering about this and that and the other thing constantly, and we've got people in space for 157 days at a time who are also sitting around with 2,500 2,500 flight hours, 200 carrier landings though. That's unless she's a carrier instructor or something, that's a heck of a lot of flying out and landing on a boat. 47 combat missions. So that's pretty neat. Pretty cool. I had no idea that the astronauts were still fighter pilots. And obviously now there's a couple of 20 years worth of combat sorties that they can have experience on. This one's from Women for Gun Rights from Maine. They're up there getting the reactionary to the atrocity that happened up there. So they have to react. It says hundreds of gun control advocates showed up to the Maine State House last Wednesday, calling for massive gun control measures. These pieces of legislation that they argue for include mandatory waiting periods and magazine capacity restrictions. Although woefully outnumbered, Women for Gun Rights, led by State Director Andy Reardon, gathered to be counter-presence and voice for truth. Women for Gun Rights was joined by Destiny, a survivor of the something massacre, and her young daughter, as well as many from gun owners of Maine. Destiny is pursuing safety by taking lessons under Andy, who is a local firearms instructor. They donated their teal shirts and gray hoodies. No, they donned their teal shirts and gray hoodies, featuring our signature Educate Not Legislate logo. Reardon led conversations centering on mental health awareness, proper and unmandated safe storage, and the life-saving program of that other thing. So, they got a lot of comments. That's pretty good. How many posts, how many views this thing get? Does it tell me? Virgo Grips is clicking on it. That's pretty cool. And I thought this one was pretty good. Black piece of poster board or something. And then, I don't know if those are stickers or cutouts, but Maine doesn't have a gun problem. Let's talk about mental health. I really like that. It's easy to read, and good contrast or what. Let's talk about mental health and the lack of resources is kind of written in there. But I like that. If you're going to get a picture of a group of people, this one's going to be able to be seen. Spacing could have probably been a little better, but the message there is clear, and both visibly and it makes a point. So something like these are nicer, are nice because they're legit handmade kind of thing, but much harder to read. It says, we protect politicians with guns, banks with guns, celebrities with guns, monuments with guns, important history documents with guns, but our most precious resource, children, with a sign that reads gun free zone. I get the point, but again, there's kids everywhere. There's politicians in one building. This mom protects her family with guns. That one's pretty good. Handmade, super easy to see. And there you go. From like a distance, boom, right? Like it's super easy to see that one. So it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, knee-jerk reaction and opportunistic exploitation of an atrocity that's essentially demanded or at least given precise instructions by the media. If you want to be infamous in the United States in 2024, you know exactly what you need to pick up and exactly where you need to go to be on the news within 15 minutes. It's fairly obvious. No one wants to talk about that. We take for granted that the media will immediately pursue and make that person infamous in order for the ratings. And, we assume that that's a given, that we have to deal with that. And that is also a strategy. That's also a vector. It's also something that we can be pointing at. But instead, we wait for that to happen and then we react. So while we're preparing to react to what we know is inevitably going to happen again, we can also disrupt the cycle. We can disrupt the system. So let's see some effort on that as well. That being said, Virginia Citizens Defense League is getting ready for their lobby day. So it's 1 week until lobby day. Get ready to make your voice heard. Check all the essential details. If you've been watching on YouTube, the Virginia Citizens Defense League is by far the best organization at a state level, probably better than any of the organizations. Well, they are better than any of the organizations at a national level, but probably better than any other organization at being transparent and having complete awareness of what they're doing with their membership and everybody else in the community. And that's important because you have the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, you have the Arizona Citizens Defense League, and there's probably other Citizens Defense Leagues that are doing great work as a result of watching what the Virginia Citizens Defense League has already done. So unlike some of the other ones that claim to be the largest and the best and the most effective, I'd go at anybody, or I'd go with head-to-head with anybody. That the Virginia Citizens Defense League, the only one you could suggest is doing as good is probably San Diego gun owners. Kind of doing it in different angles, but they're both boots on the ground. They're both active membership organizations with active memberships that give their membership something to do year round. This just happens to be their big thing right now, but they'll be doing this year round. Arizona, I'd love to say they're awesome. We do one thing on the 17th of February, and then we go back to sleep. I wish we could say we did more. But Virginia Citizens Defense League, I'd say they're an example for all, but it's obvious they're an example for all. They've literally created other organizations that are capable. Gun Owners of America. Let's look at somebody's pants. Are homicides down thanks to gun rights? I don't know. Is that a good way to do it? Ask a question and not just answer the question? Are we supposed to assume yes? In the wake of the landmark New York Right Safe Pistol Association versus Bruin, at least they got it in the right order, in 2022, more Americans are receiving concealed carry permits and carrying their firearms. Okay? This could have contributed to the classic drop in homicide, the drastic drop in homicide. Could this have contributed to the drastic drop in homicides throughout 2023? I don't know. No, maybe. Who knows? Unless you show me evidence, you're just assuming a bunch of shit. Check out our full video breakdown at the link in our sound off on what you think. Well, if this is clicking to Tiffany's video, her video is 3 minutes, so I wouldn't call it a full video breakdown. But, it's what we're getting from GOA. It's better than FPC in some ways. It's easier to read. Notice they put like a thing behind the words so you can actually read them, even though there's a very difficult to see, like, what's the word? What's that word? Just a confusing background there. Again, I don't know why people don't use the opacity command, like highlight that background layer and drop the opacity to like 60%, and now your picture is much clearer. In this case, our eyes have to compete with all this stuff going on, this chaos in the background, and showing us Vegas for some reason, and then somebody's pants. So put the pants at about 90%, and then put everything back here at about 60%. Leave your words at 100%, and now we can read it a lot easier, but whatever. They're probably getting paid good money to know how to do that. Then we've got one of the, this is the only open event for Second Amendment activists. There's two other events that I know of that you could call a Second Amendment activist event at SHOT Show, and they're both invite only, and I don't get invited to them. So the one that I do get invited to, because everybody gets invited to it, is Arms Room Radio, who does a show, or they do a show on Saturdays, but they do this event on Monday night. So this is the night before the show. Not the ideal date for it, but it's a pretty good date for stuff. And it's at a super noisy beer house. So that part of it's kind of lame, but it's happening and other people don't do shit. So, we get something in this situation here. So if you can go, if you're interested, it's from 7 to 10 at the Vegas Hofferbroffer House, which is a beer house. Your Uber people will know where it is. You just tell them it's the Hofferbroffer House or whatever it's called. And you get free beer and like sausages and stuff until they run out. Last year they had FPC. This year FPC is not doing it. So I'm curious to find out what's up with that. National level organizations have tens of millions of dollars at their disposal. They can't rent a place in SHOT Show to get Second Amendment activists together. I mean, like I say, there's at least a couple of Second Amendment events that happen that I don't get invited to, so I don't know if there's organizations funding those, and hopefully they go all out and make it something useful and effective for those people that do get invited. But till then, I'm just assuming that the national level organizations and their tens of millions of dollars just don't pour any of it on SHOT Show, at least for activism or grassroots. But I'd love to be proven wrong. Let me know and I'll add it to the list here. Okay, so you got Stephen Holbrook, researcher, author. Says, on November 7th, I attended the oral argument for United States versus Rahimi at the U.S. Supreme Court. This case challenged the validity of the federal ban on gun possession by a person with a domestic violence protection order, red flag law. I had a lively discussion with Frank somebody, the editor-in-chief of America's, it's the NRA newspaper magazine, about the Rahimi case and my thoughts on what I observed in court. The name of the episode is Supreme Court Case Also Matters, and it can be viewed on YouTube. All right, I haven't watched that. I might watch it. I've got like 3 things that I care about to watch before this, but I might watch this. I don't know. How interested are you in the Rahimi case? It's a messy one, but it's interesting. We should win it. Or I should say we need to win it. We'd be better off if we win it for sure. I don't know if you noticed what happened there, or if you've ever needed to thread a needle, or more importantly, thread a needle one-handed. But you can imagine the circumstances which you might need to thread a needle one-handed. And in this case, you just take a piece of thread or surgical cord or whatever you're going to use and lay it on your, whatever that is, your thumb muscle, and then put the eye of the needle over it and wiggle back and forth. And it looks like the interaction between your skin and the thread and the way that needle's doing its thing, it just kind of pops up in there. That's interesting. I've never even seen that before, so I've seen a lot of sewing stuff. Never seen that. Pretty neat. Hopefully that helps you. Hopefully you never have a situation where you need to thread a needle with one hand, but if you ever do. And why don't we end it, or getting close to ending it here, with a puppy. So it says, me not getting to go testify on 3 Pro 2A bills because of the weather doesn't seem to be bothering her at all. Meanwhile, I'm over here trying not to pout. So, unapologetically armed. I don't know if she's out there today. Looks like she couldn't get to go do some testifying, unfortunately, because of Missouri wasn't working with her as far as the weather. She doesn't have I think she said she has an 8-hour drive to get there each way. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to wish that on somebody having to drive through bad weather for that long to go do something like this. Should there have been a private plane arranged so that she could get there? Yeah, what the hell? I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah. There's tens of millions of dollars floating around in each of the national level organizations. You can't get the people who are willing to testify on 3 different bills. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe resources are better spent on mugs or something. So another weather, is the weather going to cancel the Second Amendment? Weather, or meeting canceled due to weather. The Connecticut Citizens Defense League January 9th meeting was canceled, and they just said see you in February. So they just straight up didn't even have a meeting all month. I don't know what to think of that. I feel like they should have a meeting. So we're going to...
One second, my other phone's ringing.
You're going to listen to this. Probably going to get copyrighted, but Dragon Man is pretty fun. And him and his daughter had a pretty good little thing here. I'll let you play.
Hello, Dragon. Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to get you that tracking number here very quickly. One second, my other phone's ringing. Hello, Dragon, can you hold, please? I know you're busy back here, but would you want to maybe help me up front from time to time?
Okay. Well, if I'm helping you up front, who's going to do all the stuff in the back?
I could probably help you out with some stuff back here if you want to help me with some stuff up front.
Yeah. Well, the stuff up front's a piece of cake.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, let's try
Okay.
it.
Okay.
So let's try to rebuild connecting rods.
How you doing with the rebuilt rods? They coming out good?
Is this how it's supposed to
What the hell did you do here? What am I going to tell the guy? Oh, you're supposed to push the racers out. Oh, man. You know, you're going to put me out of business. Touch here. Enter your 6 code numbers.
Hey Mel.
I don't know anything about this.
Hey Mel.
Yeah.
So we need to order some more ammo. We're out of 5.56, 9mm, 357,
Okay.
and we need some 30-06 as well.
Okay, I don't know where she orders this stuff from, and I don't know where she gets the ammunition. So I really don't know that much about this business because I'm always working in the back on motorcycle parts.
All right, can you at least order some accessories? We have some customers asking for some accessories.
Okay, well, I really don't know what to do. So I'll just, you know how to lock up, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll see you tomorrow. I got a headache.
We're going to make this right, and I'm going to weld this back together. All right.
What the hell are you doing now?
It's good as new.
Oh, man, we can't do that. I'm going to have to buy the guy a brand new one.
It's going to work.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
Maybe in your motor. See what happens? All those years in college, didn't learn the stuff that you really need to make a living with. I could do this. Piece of cake. Melissa doesn't know how easy she's got it here. Let's see. What? 1,300 emails? How do I answer an email? What's an email? Yep. Hello, Dragon. ATF. You're coming to audit me? In 20 minutes? Oh, my God. Okay. Right. You want to see all the books? Going back to... Wow. I don't know if we have books going back that far. The record book. Where's the record book? It's got to be in here somewhere. Elon's ATF record book. Oh, boy. What am I going to do? I got an idea. If I don't have the book, they can't check it. Oh, man, I'll tell you. Put that in there. See what happens. What do you guys want? What's going on? I just want to buy guns. That's coming. I got a lot of problems. And Ed, you could use the range, and don't worry about the money. I don't need your money. Thank you. Okay, right now I got enough problems. Good luck. Okay, goodbye.
Dad, I told you to be nice to the customers. What's going on?
I had ATF is coming. They're coming to check the record book from last year. Look, I got rid of the record book. It's burning in the stove.
You did what?
There it is. It's going up. I hope they're coming out like 9 more minutes. Oh, man, I got to get an aspirin.
All right, I'm going to end this one, but you can go watch the rest of it. So they're having such fun over there that they're making like skits and stuff, and they're just having a ton of fun. So again, you live in an era where Dragon Man exists. You could go up there and hang out pretty much all year and shoot and check out the 4x4 tracks and the dirt track and the paintball and the what was the other thing besides paintball? Something else besides paintball and the dirt bike track. Did I ever say that one? And then, of course, the gun shop. But then during the summer, you got the museum as well. And obviously during the winter, they've got more time to play around. So now they've been playing around and sharing that stuff on the Instagram or on the socials. So again, you can go experience Dragon Man and everything he's got up there, or say you wish you did. But we live in the Dragon Man era. We can all say that. So Sheriff Lamb is a pretty cool dude who's a sheriff here in Arizona, and except for the fact that he folds up an American flag incorrectly, puts it over his shoulder incorrectly, and uses it like this. Otherwise, I like the guy, and he does a pretty good job of doing the job what you'd want a sheriff to do. He's had some incredible, difficult situations, and he's still willing to work for others. And now he's taken that role to another level. He's running for Senate. He announced that at the rally here in Arizona earlier this year. So looks like the day before our rally, he'll be doing a event at Pot of Gold Auctions in just outside of Phoenix, essentially in Phoenix. Hopefully the flag will not be involved over his shoulder like that, but some people need to see a flag, I guess. I forget what country we live in. All right, so Mystery Ranch is going to be one of the cool companies at SHOT Show this year, and it says join us for SHOT. Those planning on hitting the road to Vegas, listen in, drop by the Mystery Ranch booth, and peep our latest picks, including fresh out of the lab gunfighter armor patch or armor attach. So some sort of I don't know what that is, but it is from some of the companies and manufacturers that are going to be at SHOT, and they'll start to let you know, that they'll be there and what they've got coming up. So if you're attending the show, start a list. If you're interested in these kind of things, start a list and let the people know who are going. You've got Pink, who, well, I haven't actually talked to him. Typically in the past, Pink's role at SHOT Show, he's always asked people what they want to see pictures of, because he's kind of bounced around to react to what people ask for. And if he's continuing to do that, he's one of your resources. But you've got lots of people that you know. She Fires will be there. Brooke will be there. I think Snob was out here this morning. He'll be there. Gizzard, I don't know if he's out there. He'll be there. And was Milsurp Duo out here today? Christian the 740, he'll be there. So that lots of people that'll be there. So if you find something that's interesting, let people know. They're not obligated. They're not going to run all over SHOT just to find the thing for you. But if they're walking right past it and you told them that you're interested in this thing and they've got 5-10 minutes before they need to be somewhere, you might just get that video or that interview of something that isn't on everybody's radar. So you can participate. You can be involved. You can participate in SHOT even if you're not going to be there. The people that go have some idea of what they want to see, and they will have some amount of success. Let's say you go to SHOT Show and you want to see 10 things. You might only see 8 of them, but it's going to take you 4 days to do that. You're going to be seeing all kinds of stuff. So if someone were to say to you, hey, can you look at these boots or this tent or this, something that's not really in your wheelhouse, you don't necessarily have to make a point to see it. You may walk past it 4 times, and one of those times it might be easy enough or, appropriate for you to stop by and get that video for somebody. So, again, don't feel afraid to ask people who are going to take a look at stuff. Again, don't expect them to, but, and then if you're going, keep an ear out. You never know. You don't have the perfect, what are you doing? Don't touch my camera. See that dog? Just touch this camera. When you're going to SHOT Show, you don't know everything that's right or the perfect things to point your camera at. So listen to people who are asking questions and, to your abilities, keep track of what people are asking for and attempt to grab some of those things. You may find relationships, you may find products, you may find opportunities that you never anticipated. So it says, all right, hold on, I got to put this dog down. You are definitely being bad. Distracting the whole show. You're supposed to be a good dog. You're a bad dog. That means we can turn off that camera. He's coming right back up here. You just wanted to go down. He's bad dog. There's Gizzard. Welcome. So it says T-minus 14 days. So that's how much time we got left. This is 19 hours ago. T-minus 14 days until SHOT Show opens. Only 6 days until we start moving into the Venetian Expo. We know many exhibitors have freight already on the way to Vegas. So today we'll be providing some last-minute reminders and tips. Hold on a second. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What is this? You're disrupting this show. How long has this show been on? 1 hour? There's no excuse for this. This is a 1 hour show with 46 minutes, and you're being this bad in it? I've got to whoop it. Hold on. Are you happy now? Are you happy that you disrupted the whole show? Bad co-host. All right, he's up again. He wanted to go down super bad, and then I put him down, and then he was annoying to come right back up. So he's insatiable. Lead retrieval. Activated if you have it. Purchase now if you haven't. What does that mean? Lead retrieval. Oh, maybe lead retrieval? I don't know what that means. Register your staff and have them confirm their email address. Okay. Be on the lookout for important email for you and your entire team next week. Locations for badge pickup in Vegas. If anybody is going to Vegas and doesn't know where they get a badge, let us know. Let us know so we can help you figure it out. Shuttles available between Caesars and Venetian. What is this? Keep an eye out for booth renewal notification. Taking advantage of the free POV freight assistance program. I don't know what this is. All a bunch of stuff for people putting up their booths, but I don't know what those are supposed to be. I guess those are just topics that they have made that they've made FAQs about. All right, so then this is Tony replying to Governor Murphy. Crime is down. 50,000 new concealed carry licenses issued. Your anti-gun allies warned blood would flow in the streets. Their sources. Trust us, bro. Your anti-gun, freedom-hating, fear-mongering hyperbole is a lie. No wonder Americans hold politicians in such low regard. I think Tony does some great summaries of his posts, and then we'll read his full post here in a second. But that's his tweet. His tweet to a governor who was saying probably some goofiness, and he reposted that tweet over here to Instagram with that music behind it. And then it says in the comment, Governor Phil Murphy is saying his unconstitutional firearms law are the reason New Jersey has the lowest number of shootings in nearly 15 years. According to their fear-mongering from Murphy and his lying co-conspirators in the anti-gun cabal, blood was going to run in the streets with regular people legally carrying concealed firearms. How are there less shootings but more guns? Freedom-hating politicians will lie to your face, and their complicit partners in the mainstream media refuse to hold them accountable. Murphy will never have to answer for delaying, denying, and charging higher fees to New Jersey citizens to exercise their civil right to keep and bear arms. There are no stories of uneducated, trigger-happy gun owners getting in road rage shootouts, no shootouts between armed citizens that stopped a criminal and responding police, no vigilante justice being delivered by armed citizens that see themselves as Punisher or John Wick. Gun Control Inc. needs ignorant, frightened, divided citizens that are easily fooled into giving away their civil rights. Don't be that fool. You are responsible for your safety and security, not the government. When crime is low, they say their anti-gun laws are working and we need more of them. When crime is high, they say we need more gun laws. Anti-gun laws. Their answer is always going to be less rights for citizens and more control for them. Don't be an idiot. So, Tony's constantly laying that down. It's such great insight. Hopefully people reach it, get it. It's good for us to hear those positions, though. Again, when we're having conversations with others, some of these pieces might fit. They might be the right bait for the fish that we're going after. I think this is the last one. It says gun culture. This is from Professor Yamane, Gun Culture 2.0. Says, Gun Curious is not just the title of my book, it is who I am. This was recently confirmed by Grammarly in my 2023 Communication Style Reveal. Read more about being naturally curious and incredibly open-minded on his blog. And I guess Grammarly has a award or gives you some kind of a rating based on how your actions were the year before. So it says in 2023, your communication was curious, appreciative, and neutral. The explorer treats every communication as a discovery. They're naturally curious, and their writing reflects this. Incredibly open-minded, the explorer tends to ask smart questions that help uncover essential details and make others feel understood. Interesting. So that is the week in Second Amendment stuff. There's still 41 minutes before Cape Gun Works goes live, so I either started this at the wrong time or they're screwing with their time, but time is a difficult thing for some people, including me. So thanks everybody for joining us for this one. Our goal here is to, give you something to listen to. Some, if you don't want to look at Instagram, you can hear some of Instagram. If you're driving or working and, you've got the earphones in, it gives you something that's a more long format, more actual form content, not just, paid for, messages. And hopefully an alternative. Well, I know it's an alternative because I don't even follow the people they're telling you whatever the current news of the day line is. I need to get my robot arm tightened up here. It keeps drooping. Puppy isn't really drooping. I'm the one drooping. Or my robot arm is drooping. We'll pull off of this. Let's say thanks again to everybody for joining us and sitting through all the problems that the puppy co-host brings to the show. We will run one more commercial for our Gear website store. If anybody wants to take advantage of buying stuff over at the store, not only does it help out with the typical stuff, but this month, we're driving to SHOT Show. We've got DJ flying in to help out. So DJ will be there. Right now we're in probably the cheapest hotel you can get in Vegas. So kind of thinking about doing something different, but maybe not. So any purchases from the store definitely help out this month to offset some of the travel costs and, the luxurious buffets we're going to be eating all week in Vegas and the luxury travel and the 5-star accommodations. So, we'll throw a commercial up for that. We'll say thanks to those Patreons down at the bottom of the screen that the puppy keeps looking at and for making it possible for us to even spend time on this. Otherwise, I could have spent this 2 hours, essentially working. But we'll get back to that stuff in a second here. After, I don't think I'm missing any other comments. Did I say hey to Gunpowder Beauty? Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And I think I did say hey to Foss. Agrizer, I don't remember who said hey to you. And if I'm missing anybody else, that's the fault of the puppy co-host who didn't warn me. He's saying, hey, talk to Agrizer. Hey, say hey to New York Outcast. Say hey to Brooke. Okay. Let's see, what's up next? Today is Wednesday, so is there anything later on today? I think everything shifted till Thursday now, right? Is there a Wednesday show? What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting somebody's Wednesday show? I think everybody switched their shows to Thursday. So there's nothing to do until tomorrow evening, I think. Yep. All right, well, I guess even though there's no reason for it, even though it's completely unwarranted, even though this dog probably doesn't want to have to do it, we're going to make him eat another biscuit right before the end of the show. He was willing to eat another biscuit for the audience. You're welcome.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
You got to massage the cookie in there, otherwise it doesn't digest well. But if you can massage the cookie in, the little biscuit in there, and all the nutrients get in. It's a little trick. If you don't know it, when you give your puppy a biscuit, just like this, a little puppy biscuit, and then you massage the nutrients into the puppy. Wiggle them around. That's why they have all this extra skin. That's where the nutrients go. You have to massage it in there. Yep, Toby's show is starting in 36 minutes. That's why I'm farting around. We got all the time in the world. So I'll throw a link up here on the side. Rapid Fire episode 158. Boom. There's a link. And one more puppy rub. Oh my goodness. Look at this dog. Look at the way this dog is. Would you look at the way that this dog is? Oh my goodness. He needs a nap. Okay, we got to end this. This dog needs a nap. Stat. We'll throw this on for Patriot out there. Shit.
Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song. For all of you out there on or behind the line.
Just double checking that I did link. Oh, I didn't. Thank you. I forgot to link to his show. Now it's linked, and now when we end this one, you'll be recommended to go over to that one. Puppy.